everybody. We are back in Roslyn, and right now we're looking for some of the mine entrances, and we believe this is mine number 2.
I believe it's mine number 2. We think.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with the map that we found, that's provided to us.
Yeah.
Here, and so
I think a lot of it, I think we are like really close to number 2, and that's as far as I can get. They basically closed all these off, of course, because the mining stopped in the 60s. Mm-hmm. So they closed a lot of these off, and they're closed up for a good reason. They don't want people wandering down there because they are expansive.
Safety issue.
Yeah, safety issue for sure. And all these mines actually run directly under the city of Roslyn. So, but now they're all flooded out and closed up. So, but we were trying to find number 1 because that is where 45 guys lost their lives.
Miners.
And that was like the big, that was like the it's still to this
tragedy.
Day. Yeah, still to this day, the worst mine accident they had in Washington State. And I think it's pretty up high in the nations as well. There's something up there.
We've been walking for a bit, and we've noticed a lot of these buildings or remains of buildings that, we have no idea what they are. Might at one time hold explosives.
It's a pretty heavy-duty structure considering most of everything else is dilapidated or not existing anymore. It's not your typical wood shack.
We'll have to look more into it because I was not expecting anything like this.
It seems to have been repurposed as somebody's home, maybe. They're setting up a nice little wood pile there, so hopefully we're not disturbing anybody. So here's something similar to what we're talking about. The ruins are everywhere, and here we are. We're just walking to another point, and we found something in the ground, and it's metal, and it seems to be melted, pretty hot. So you don't know where it came from. It looks super old. So you have to question whether or not it came from that era, and this place is just everywhere. It's huge.
Yeah, it reminds me of like crumpled piece of paper, but I mean it's metal. It's
that's solid.
Yeah,
definitely need a tetanus shot after that one, but but no, I mean this is exactly what we're talking about. The ruins are everywhere. You gotta look, and so the history is very rich here. I'm not quite sure, man. It looks like a brick from an old station of some sort. It's got some writing in here. You can't really tell what it is.
More cement chunks over here.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I wonder if there was an old building here. I mean, it's possible. We're not too far from the last spot.
Hungry?
Well, if the boss is hungry, I guess.
No,
She
she's
said
back.
we can eat now.
In the past few years, the Roslyn Cemetery's organization have been working to restore the historic cemeteries here. With the help of volunteers and donations, they are bringing the cemeteries and the history back to life. They now have a computer kiosk located at the entrance listing residents and their family's history. If you don't find who or where your family members are, please be patient. They are working diligently collecting and cataloging all of their 5,000 plus residents' information. Or if you're in the area, you can visit the Roslyn Museum, located at 203 Pennsylvania Avenue, just 4 blocks from the cemeteries. A small donation is all that is required to experience a lifetime of Roslyn history.
It's my first time ever being in Roslyn, and so far I've really enjoyed it. And I like the town, how like unique homey. It is. And
Where are y'all from?
I kind of like its vintage Seattle.
Ah.
Yeah. And I really like the style of it, of everything here. I also like like the houses back there, like all like the backyards are kind of like connected. It's pretty cool to me, and I'm planning on buying more things from the store.
It was your birthday today?
Mine.
Your birthday today?
Mine was 2 days ago.
Okay, happy birthday.
Thank you.
You guys have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Margaret's grave, and I'm going to tell the story of how I actually came to know about Margaret, which is kind of interesting because, you know, it was, oh good Lord, a good, 30 years ago, probably. I was in college and I was taking broadcasting at the time. And we used to deal with a lot of local bands, and a lot of the local bands used to play up here at the Brick.
Okay.
So we were up here, me and a couple friends of mine were up here watching one of the bands, which was, I think Ravenwolf was the one we came up to see. And it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And usually what we did when we came and saw the bands here, we would stop at there's a park here with restrooms.
Okay.
And we'd always use the restrooms before we got back on the freeway because, Yakima's what, hour and a half, 2 hours away from here. And, that was usually our stop. And everybody'd go to the bathroom, walk around, get ready to go, and then we'd pack up and go. Well, when we were in the bathrooms, I was the last girl out of the bathrooms. And I heard my friend Kurt, and he was talking to somebody, but he was talking weird because they have, the bathrooms, everywhere you go, have this ventilation. You can hear both bathrooms, and you can hear people that are close to the building. And I guess he had walked out of the bathrooms, and we were all kind of wandering around the park and everything and just kind of walking, getting ready to go. And I heard him talking. And at first I thought he was talking to one of them that was in our group. But then I noticed he was talking weird. And it was like, oh, hi, honey. Where's, why are you here? Where are you? Talking like, and I'm thinking, why it's 3 o'clock in the morning, why is he talking to a child? Because that's,
yeah. Why
when
are
somebody's
you not
talking.
in bed?
Yeah, why are you not in bed? And he was asking her like, well, where are you? And all this stuff. So I came out of the bathrooms and walked around the side of the building. And he looks at me and goes, did you see her? And I said, see who? Who are you talking to? And he goes, the little girl. And I said, what little girl? And I'm looking around like, and I'm thinking to myself, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Why is there a little girl here, especially in the middle of nowhere? Because, most everybody that's out at that time of night here in Roslyn would be at one of the bars, He's like, the little girl, come on, I'll show you. So I jumped in the van with them, and we all got in the van. There were 4 of us in his van. And he drove all the way around and parked over here. And he parked down at the end of the cemetery here, and he got out and he says, I'll show you. And he took off up the hill into the old city section where we're at. And for some reason, I don't know why, I was like, okay. And I just jumped out of the van, and I turned around to everybody else, and I said, you guys coming? And they went, no, we are not getting, we're not getting out of this van for nothing, And they, the guy I was with was like, get back in the van. I'm like, and I just turned around and I ran all the way up this hill and over to here. And at the time, her headstone was over here at the time. But I know that they've had vandals and they've had it moved around a few times. And there was a fence around her. And the weirdest thing was, like I said, if you look at the path, I don't know how I made it up. They just walked up that hill with, pitch black. There's no lights or anything out here. Walked up all the way and walked over here. But her grave here was glowing. It was like moonshine shining
Oh,
down
that's
on it, and you
crazy.
could actually read her headstone. And he's like, "See, she's here. I told you." And I looked at him and I said, I heard you talking to a little girl. That can't be the little girl you were talking to. He goes, "She had no feet."
Oh, yeah,
And I
that's-
went, "Okay." I know, and I'm thinking to myself, I know he hadn't been drinking that much that night, but he said she had no feet, and he said, "She told me she was over here." And I said, "Well, how did you find her?" And he's like, "I don't know. I knew she was right here," and it was kind of weird because I'm thinking to myself, why is this like just, I can read this. This shouldn't be, and it wasn't like it was a full moon or anything. Plus, with all the trees around us, how do
yeah.
So it was weird to me, and it was just weird because everybody else would not come up here. It was just the two of us. So over the years, 2 or 3 years that passed, my friend Kurt used to come up here, and he talked to her all the time. Every time he'd come and play here with his band, he'd come up and talk to her.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
he used to have a little medicine bag where he'd taken a couple of rocks off her grave, and he used to come up here and visit her all the time, bring her flowers and toys and everything else. So when he left the state, though, he said, "No, I think it'd be best if she stayed in the state." So he brought the rocks back to her. And when I was talking to him about this the other day, I told him I'm going to come up here, and I brought her some toys to leave with her. He's like, "Oh, that'd be really good,"
She
So
deserves that.
yeah, but it's, to this day, I've never figured out, and then I've heard a lot of stories about people coming up here and saying, "Oh, it's really haunted and everything up here." But every time I've come up here, it's always positive.
Yeah, that's how I felt it. I came up here and I feel good. I
Yeah.
didn't feel anything malignant or malicious or anything like that. So
And I know for the last couple of years they've been cleaning up the area, and they haven't quite got over to this section, I don't think yet. But it will be nice to see when they get everything done, because now they have a computer that lists where everybody's buried. In
Yeah,
the cemetery.
kiosk, right? Is
Yeah,
that
a
what
little
you're saying?
kiosk.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little kiosk computer that you can stop at the front of the place, and it'll tell you where everybody's buried. In fact, they're listing people that are the unmarked graves now too, because they're
that's
trying to find
great.
them.
That's great.
So there'll be a lot more information about it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, these graves are pretty beat up. Pretty beat up, and they definitely need some TLC. So
Yes,
I'm
they
excited to
do.
see what they're going to do for them. So, because
Well,
you
I
deserve
kinda-
a nice place.
When I saw her the first time, it was, many years ago, but all this stuff wasn't grown up, and some of it was, a lot more maintained back then. So
Yeah.
things like that, it happens,
There's a lot of time here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of time, a lot of old graves.
When you're talking like over 125, 130 years,
You bet.